again, folks, and welcome back to this week's video. So once again this week we are heading out into the wilds, checking those charity shops, pawn shops, anywhere we can pick up games to add into the collection. So this week we are mainly heading into some of the smaller towns in my area. So what do you think? Are the smaller charity shops in towns going to be better than that in the big cities? There's only one way to find out. Let's jump straight into this week's hunt. Just before we jump into this week's game hunting video, quick heads up for you long-time viewers and first-time viewers. Every Saturday I put out new videos, so please remember to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and keep in touch with the channel. But now, let's jump straight into the video. The very first charity shop of the day and the very first finds of the day. Managed to find not one, not two, but three of the Professor Layton games. All of these were just £2 each as well, so I thought that was a pretty good pickup. There were some other games here as well, but nothing really that stood out. Word of warning, once you become a game hunter, you never really switch off. Even if you are looking for your groceries. So I was in B&M, they had loads of reduced PlayStation and Xbox merchandise. But the main thing that caught my eye was not the Xbox Lite, but this PlayStation lava lamp. At just £10, I think I can find a home for this in the games room. The next stop on this week's game hunt was Cromer on the Norfolk coast, and I had a few members of my family tagging along for the game hunt. So starting off, of course, the charity shops are always going to be full of DVDs, but you never know when there's going to be a game hiding somewhere in between, or if you're going to find a gem like this really fetching hat, which I am kind of disappointed I did not pick up. One really disappointing thing about this week's game hunt was that this antique shop was closed. They had some really interesting things in this window. It is kind of hard to show you through the window, but I just kind of wanted to highlight this store, as I'm definitely going to be looking to go back when it is actually open. There were some really cool vintage toys, some really interesting looking things, and it looked absolutely packed with stuff. Especially, I know this is a newer Star Wars figure, but this vintage figure looks really cool. But not all the shops were open, so we were on to the next charity shop. Of course, there was the veritable wall of DVDs, which you always need to check through because you never know what you're going to find. But we did find the first games in Cromer. Disappointingly though, they were a PC game and one of the most common DS games you can physically find. But it was quite surprising to see Forza Horizon 3 on the Xbox One on this shelf. Definitely a game if I did not own already, or if it was a little bit cheaper, I'd have picked it up to trade it in. But definitely an absolutely incredible game. But yeah, there was a few other little bits hiding in on this store. You can see there was this Mech Warrior book, which did look really interesting. Definitely had some really cool artwork in there, and I am a sucker for a gaming artwork book. It's always super important to really keep your eyes up when looking around the charity shops, otherwise you can miss absolute treasures like this Xbox mug. It was very tempting to have my morning coffee in this cup, but I did decide to leave it for somebody else. There always seems to be a lot of routing between DVDs to find games, but it is nice to see a few more Blu-rays appearing in the old charity shops. But you know, I say we find games, but there is always going to be the games you find like iPet for the PlayStation 3, which I did leave behind for someone else. But they do seem to love hiding the games in these charity shops. I don't know why. I've just been looking through some DVDs and there's just a secret copy of Halo ODST just hidden there. I don't really know why they can't put these on more of a section, but I suppose if it's just the one game, you might as well just bundle it in with the rest of the DVDs and Blu-rays. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but if a charity shop has Simpsons comics in the window, you know you're probably in for some good treats inside. So going through the veritable wall of DVDs, there once again was a kind of weird VHS with just games written on it to separate. So this is nice organisation, even though the games in question weren't exactly that exciting. You know, your basic kind of shovelware and just kind of FIFAs as you find in all the stores. So this next bit is quite funny because my nephew here is showing me this Scooby-Doo movie. He has found it. He really wants to add into the collection while I'm trying to show you folks at home these awesome Simpsons vintage DVDs. I really like the Simpsons classic DVD artwork, but now they're all on Disney Plus, I'm not so much wanting to add them into the collection. Here is pretty much another one example of something you do not see in charity shops every day, and that is brand new Calvin Klein underwear. So yeah, I always need to buy underwear, everyone does, but not really at £43, even if these were brand new. But I'm sure somebody is going to buy their underwear from a charity shop. But this charity shop did have a really good selection of DVDs. There were some good kind of superhero movies, some really cool vintage Power Rangers DVDs, loads of good stuff, but you know, I'm trying not to add too many DVDs, so I did give them a miss. In that same charity shop, something you do not see every day, and that is sealed games. There was a sealed copy of Modern Warfare 3, which I was kind of tempted with at a tenner, but you know, I just kind of passed it. I'm not really into sealed games. But something I did find I was very interested in, hiding on the top shelf, was this Lightsaber Toy. Sadly, it was not one though that lit up. If this one lit up, I would have definitely added it into my collection, General Grievous style.
Your lightsabers will make a fine addition to my collection.
The final shop in Chroma, it did have quite a few games. We even had some Xbox One games, but the problem was these games were not priced fantastically. They were all pretty expensive. So a lot of these games I could have picked up cheaper in CX, or a lot of these games are the kind of games I want to pick up for £1 or 50p. Most of them are priced at £2 or £3. I was very tempted by Cats for £3.95, but I did decide to skip that one, even though Burnout 3 was there. If I didn't own it, I would have bought it. So Chroma may not have had the most amazing pickups, but you know that never stops me. I was off to another town, this time we're off to Attleborough, straight away picking up some cheap DVDs. They actually had a really good selection of DVDs in this store. So yeah, 50p a DVD, can't go wrong. The next store had quite a few games, and something I haven't probably even seen before is Wii Speak. I know you could use this in Animal Crossing on the Wii, but yeah, it was quite expensive, and you know, I don't really know where to use it. Obviously you had a couple of FIFA games, loads of kind of DS shovelware. There was actually some pretty decent games in this little box here. Loads of good games for the Kinect, but they were a couple of pounds. I think I can definitely pick them up cheaper at somewhere like CX. But yeah, somebody actually traded in some decent games in here, and also hiding in the back was a DVD I've been looking for absolutely ages. So it's really good to find this hiding in a charity shop. Final charity shop I visited in Attleborough had one of the biggest DVD selections I think I've ever seen. Also, very weirdly, they had many copies of The King's Speech. But I did have a few PS2 and of course some FIFA games hiding just at the end of the shelf. But they were all games, sadly, I already had in the collection, but it was cool to see some Sims games, even though, you know, they were ones I did already own. So the final shop I went to, sadly, I didn't pick anything up, but it was a really cool building. It's always good to see them putting charity shops just anywhere they can and reusing buildings such as this old bank. The final stop on this week's road trip was Wyndham, and some of my favourite charity shops are here. So outside this charity shop, somebody had donated their entire collection, it seems, of superhero DVDs. There was every single film you could imagine, and also randomly many copies of Spider-Man 3. Film so nice they must have bought it twice. Another charity shop, and it's cool to see all these different versions you can now get of Monopoly. I have a couple myself, and this Game of Thrones one is one that I do own already, but it's definitely very cool to see. So this next shop I know so well, I know exactly where they put the games, so I was straight in and straight to the games. I had to be a little bit sneaky with this one. You look a bit weird sometimes filming yourself going into these stores. Also, as well, the games counter is directly next to the till. They normally have some fairly decent titles in here. Sadly, this time there wasn't anything that was really worth picking up. That Star Wars DVD game was quite tempting, but I did decide to give it a miss. I just wanted to pause the video here just so I could explain the situation with this console a little bit more, because seriously, how often is it you see boxed retro consoles in charity shops? I was absolutely blown away by this. I just wanted to pause so you could hear the little conversation I had with the shopkeeper. I have to send this to my friend to collect him. I'm very interested in this one. I haven't seen one in the box for years.
Yeah, that's my old one.
It's really nice.
You've got two crystal controllers, all you need.
This charity shop right here is probably one of my favourite charity shops, especially local to me. I normally go in once or twice a month as they always seem to be getting really good stuff in. I bought strategy guides from there, big box PC games, PlayStation 1 games, basically you name it, they normally seem to have it. They have a really big selection of games, as you can see here. They also really take care of their games. Most of the games are actually behind the counter, so you can kind of see they've been looked after. And, you know, there's definitely some decent value games here, such as this For God of Thunder, which I did pick up. Quick question for everyone watching. Is there a charity shop you still keep going into even though you never ever find anything in there? I'm kind of a firm believer of always just looking and looking. There was some nice WWE figures there, but there's always that charity shop you just go to and never find anything. But, you know, I just sometimes prove myself wrong. As I pull this box out here, it may not be the greatest find of all time, but I did find myself a little McDonald's Mario toy which I needed to add into the collection. On to the final store, and the first thing I saw was this really nice glass storage case. So I have one of these myself, and they're really cool for putting all your kind of really nice retro collectibles inside. Inside the store they did have a small selection of games. It's kind of cool to see some more Xbox One games. There were some decent titles, but sadly games I did already have. I was quite tempted to pick up that copy of Forza Horizon to trade into CX, but it was a little bit pricey, so I did decide to pass on that one. This right here then is a lesson for all you people watching. You need to constantly check your local charity shops. So this shop had in some boxed vintage Pokemon games, which I had missed. But they did still have a few Pokemon things laying around in the store. They had this DS, which came with a copy of Pokemon Diamond, I think it was. But it was pretty pricey. But seriously, Pokemon in charity shops in 2022, how often do you see that?
Wow, what an incredible time we had, again, searching for those gaming treasures. Really annoyingly, one of my favourite finds this week I didn't actually catch on video, and that is this copy of Sonic Heroes for the Nintendo GameCube. I actually managed to pick this up in a charity shop, not for $12.99, but for £3. How often is it in this day and age you see GameCube games in charity shops? Let me know if you've got lucky and found a charity shop with a GameCube game in your local area. One of our very first stops in a charity shop, we got lucky with not one, not two, but 3 Professor Layton games for the Nintendo DS. These are all in fantastic condition, all complete, and all really nice. So the first one is Professor Layton and Pandora's Box. Secondly, we have Professor Layton and the Spectre's Call. And lastly, Professor Layton and the Lost Future. So these are games I've never actually jumped into, but I think I pretty much own all of these games now on the Nintendo DS. So please let me know down in the comments below, what is your favourite Professor Layton game? I mean, I've had the best luck finding some stuff when we're out on the coast, but the main thing was it was really nice to spend some time with the family, especially out doing what we all love, seeing my nephew kind of out there searching for stuff he wanted to add to his collection. So the one thing I did add was this Mech Warrior Technology Destruction book for £2.50. I'm not really sure about this one. It's like kind of, I don't know if it's a children's book, kind of collector's book, but it does have some really nice fold out bits. This was £2.50, but it is some really nice artwork in here of the various different mechs, as well as some really nice 2-page spread artwork. So not really sure about it. I looked online, can't really find massive information about it, but £2.50 is a nice one to add into the kind of video game art book category. I'm not the biggest collector of DVDs anymore, but it's always good to pick up a couple of DVDs on the cheap. So the first one I did pick up was the original version of Death Note. So this is a film I did watch the kind of American remake of recently, really enjoyed it, so it'd be good to go back and watch the original film. The other one I did pick up is an amazing documentary called Life After People. So this is probably aged quite badly now, but I remember watching this years ago on the History Channel and not being able to see every episode, but absolutely being enthralled by it. If you kind of enjoy your post-apocalyptic kind of documentaries, it's definitely one to check out. The lesson we learned this week is you can never count a charity shop out. You can go into the same one 100 times and never find anything. It's just that one sweet time that you find something that just really throws you off. This may not be the most amazing find. It is just a little Mario Happy Meal toy that I can add into my collection. But it just reminds me to never give up on any charity shop. You never know what you're going to find.
The main attraction this week was definitely that charity shop in Wyndham. The number of times I've scored in that shop, they just always seem to have the best stock in. And just wow, that Crystal Xbox new in the box. That thing is incredible. If I had had the cash, I would have maybe splurged on that one. But I have already got a Crystal Xbox just without the box. But I tell you what, if that price drops and it's still there soon, I may be tempted. But that didn't stop us, of course, from picking up some amazing games in that store. So first off, we got 4 God of Thunder on the Wii. I think these kind of older Marvel games are only going to go up in value as the kind of Disney takes over and some of these older games lose their licenses. It's always good to pick up some really nice cheap PlayStation 2 games. They're just some cheap ones, like kind of we got Pool Paradise, which was 59p. Virtual Tennis 2 again for 59p, and one I'm actually quite excited by is Sensible Soccer 2006. So shout out to anyone who can remember the original Sensible Soccer. That is definitely an OG classic. So people, let me know in the comments below, when was the last time you saw such a minty PlayStation 1 game in a charity shop? I know you can kind of get some of the more basic ones, but I am such a sucker for anything Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Lost World, any of those. It may be a platinum game, but I just could not leave it on the shelf. So this was £5, but it is complete. It has the manual and the disc is a really nice clean disc. This is a game that I do kind of love to hate. It is a really good game, but it has some terrible difficulty spikes. But I'm really glad to add it into the collection. It just makes it all the sweeter knowing I found this in a charity shop. There we have it then, folks. That is a wrap for another week of game hunting out in the wild. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to leave a like and subscribe, as I'm trying to get out more this year. I'm going to even be travelling further afield, hunting for those games all around the country, and even worldwide down the line. Who knows? So, once again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment below what your favourite find was of this week, and I will see you next Saturday for another video. Until then, keep playing the game. See y'all soon.